Yeah, no.
Yeah, so if I say something maybe incriminating,
I will not leave anything in if you feel like if you go in hindsight, James, can you make sure that isn't public?
It's like I organised 9/11.
That's going to be the intro. Hello and welcome to the Young Performers Podcast. Now this is a podcast where we will be interviewing young performers, as it says in the tin. There's going to be a focus on actors. Well, of course, because, you know, I'm an actor. Jamie, right here, is an actor.
Hey.
Susan, who is doing all of our recording and sound stuff, is an actor. And most of the people we know are actors, so there can be lots of actors. But there will also be musicians, stage managers, sound designers, directors, anything we can get our hands on, to be honest, because we want to kind of cover everyone in the arts. And this is kind of... because there are lots of podcasts interviewing actors, looking back on their career, kind of older actors, but there aren't any podcasts interviewing people currently going through it, or at least any we could find, interviewing people who might be going to drama school, people who are auditioning for drama school, people who have just graduated. And so the idea of this is to kind of get a library of interviews of all these kind of students, grads, people about to go to drama school, all this sort of thing, so they kind of have someone to listen to. Like, they need reassurance that everyone's going through what they're going through. Don't worry, we've got a whole library of people who are going through the exact same thing. If you want to hear that your experience is normal, don't worry, everyone has, horrible times at drama school.
Everyone's in as worse position as you are, don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. You're not alone. Or if you're auditioning for drama school and you want to maybe get interviews, because we're going to be interviewing people from every drama school, hopefully. So you want to hear what different people's experiences are like, so you can get an idea of all sorts of different people. So we're going to be doing all of this. So, without further ado, we're going to start with one of the greatest human beings who's ever graced this planet.
I think it's too much flattery going on right now.
It's the wonderful, the incredible, my favourite human being ever, Jamie Coles.
If you saw me right now, I'd be doing a standing ovation in James's honour.
Yes,
this bit.
Thank you. Jamie, how are you?
I'm good. I'm
good.
sitting in a very nice chair with a very nice glass of water.
It's a pleasure to have you. So I'm just going to start with a really horribly vague question. So try your best to answer it.
I'll try.
How did you first get involved with acting?
Wow. So I can't remember the exact age, but ever since primary school, I remember being in this little play called Robin Hood, and I played Robin Hood.
Of course.
And I don't know what it was, but I just loved being this kind of character. There was one specific point which I loved. Specific, whatever. I used to have to put on these green tights, as was, of course, the tradition of playing Robin Hood back in the day in primary school. And I remember everyone else going like, do you really want to put those on? I was like, yeah, I'm like, Robin Hood, like, this is really cool. And everyone else was like, all right, fine. But yeah, and I just enjoyed performing. And I loved having an audience in front of me, and I loved performing to them and experiencing what the character felt. And then from then onwards, I kind of took up drama in secondary school, which helped because my teachers were very supportive of that kind of thing. And then the rest is history.
So what age were you when you did Robin Hood?
God, I must have been about 8 or 9.
Okay, cool.
8 or 9.
And so that was the show which kind of
that was
knew from that point.
That was the show from then onwards. So I kind of went to myself, and the teacher, I remember, used to get these like certificates, these like merits, didn't you? And I got the merit for being in Robin Hood, and I was like, this is the only thing I'm good at. So I was like, this is a good start. I'm actually good at something. Yeah. So from then onwards, I wanted to hone that.
So if like Robin Hood was like the first show that made you know you wanted to act, what was the first show that kind of made you realise this was a possible career, not just a hobby, not just something fun that you were good at, something you could actually pursue?
I think secondary school, the last 2 years of secondary school was which really made me choose. I mean, it was either going to be music for me or acting. So I play French horn, which isn't exactly the most common instrument under the planet. I like to call my French horn Mr. Tumnus. And so I used to think to myself, I could either pursue music or I could pursue acting. And in the end, I was better at acting, so I chose acting. But I suppose the shows which we did in the last 2 years of secondary school, in sixth form, we did Little Shop of Horrors and
Fantastic.
Into the Woods, and they're both amazing. I think Seymour for me was my favourite character I ever played, probably because he's just so like me. But that's the kind of last 2 years was when I just realised I was like, I could do this as a living. I'd love to do this as a living, something that I enjoy doing, which maybe you don't get paid so much, but I mean, at least I would hopefully die a happy man. Hopefully.
So, because those last 2 shows you did were musicals at in secondary school.
Yes.
So, would you say that was because I'm aware that you are currently you just graduated from a musical theatre course?
Yes.
Well, it's an acting course.
It's an acting course, but
with
it's
musical
specialised as a musical theatre. They like to say it's 80% acting with 20% like musical theatre elements in it.
So did you always was musical theatre like a specific brand of acting you always wanted to do, and has that changed or anything like that? Or
not particularly. I still really want to more pursue an acting path than I would a musical theatre path. For me, musical theatre is a kind of shady area, as a lot of it is required to
some
dance.
roles, but not.
Yes, but not all of it.
Not a career in musical theatre.
Exactly. I think in order for a year to have the voice for a year and to have the dancing capabilities for a year, it can be very taxing. And again, I'd love to do that kind of thing, but I just don't think I've got the movement set for it.
Awesome. So before you went to Central, did you have any other what you would consider great forms of training? So like things that you look back on and go, that trained me and made me a better actor before I went to drama school?
I did a course actually at the Actors Centre.
Fantastic.
And it was amazing, absolutely amazing. I met loads of directors and different tutors, because it took me 2 attempts to get into drama school. I didn't get in my first year, so I had a gap year in which I became a teaching assistant, and during that time I didn't want to just become stale, like a stale loaf of bread you just put on the side. So I decided to actually do something with my year, and one of the things I did was pay for lessons at the Actors Centre, and we met some great tutors there. Jonathan Broadbent, I think his name was absolutely amazing, and Jess, can't remember her surname, Jess, who we had as a teacher, she was absolutely incredible as well, and they just all helped to kind of like refine the monologues we did. And then from then onwards I actually had tutoring sessions with Jonathan Broadbent, and he helped me refine my monologues and things like that. So that for me was a really good course. Oh, for anyone that's listening, it was the Introduction to Acting course. Nice. And it takes place over a month, and it was really, really good. So if you're thinking about doing something like this, do that.
So you just said you didn't get in your first year at drama school. So
no, I didn't.
How were your auditions the first time? And I'll ask you about your auditions the second time and ask what the difference was. But what was your first round of auditions? Which drama schools did you go for? So
drama schools I went for in my first year cost me a penny and a half, I would say. I went for RADA, Lambda, Guildhall, Arts Ed, Bristol Vic, Central, and just one other, which I can't remember the name of, but it will come to me. Oh, Drama Centre. And because I was doing sixth form at the time and was just halfway through A-levels, I wasn't best prepared, I'd say. I was more concentrated, I was more had split kind of things going on at that point, so my monologues and my work towards the auditions kind of fell because of it. So I didn't do as much prep as I would have liked to have done for an audition, which wasn't the best. So I ended up not doing as well as I could have done in my first rounds. But it was also helpful as well because I got to know the schools, which is another brilliant piece of advice again. because you get to audition the schools as much as they audition you. Like, there are places which I entered and I was just like, this is not for me. And I say, to each his own. Like, some places really suit different people. For me, I didn't really get along with Arts Ed and Drama Centre. Those are the two which I went to audition for them and kind of went, great schools, really, really highly recommend them to anybody who would fit in well there, but just not for me, if you know what I mean. So then when it came to the second round of auditions, I knew what I kind of wanted to go for. So, yeah.
Awesome. So what was your best drama school audition experience and your worst drama school audition experience?
Brilliant question. My worst one, I will always remember this, was my one at Lambda. Or actually, I've got two worst ones, so I'll go through both. The one at Lambda, when I walked into the audition, wasn't exactly confident, I was a bit nervous, and they always tell you to shake the person's hand if they're there. So I assumed I should do that. So the guy opened the door, and I put my hand out to shake his hand, and I went, "Nice to meet you, I'm Jamie." And he just turned to me with the blankest look on his face and went, "We don't shake hands here." And I literally died inside. I died. A piece of my soul is still inside that building, honestly. I felt humiliated, and then they were like, stand at the X and do the monologue, and I was like, I couldn't do it. I was like, okay. Yeah, it was a kind of Family Guy, Peter Griffin moment. But anyway, moving on from that. I said audition actually the first time round. I didn't realise they only wanted us to take 8 lines of our Shakespeare. So I picked the best 8 lines, the most dramatic 8 lines of my monologue. But of course I'd never started from this point. So I went into the audition and I got this whole thing where I get into character. I got into character and I was like, okay, I'm ready. Looked up at the panel and just completely forgot my line. I was like, do I have to start again? They went, yeah, it's fine, just take your time. Tried again, failed again, tried 3 times to remember the first line, failed every single time. And eventually the panel were really nice and they were going, like, this is fine, this happens all the time. I was like, I'm just going to start from the beginning of the monologue. And then I just did the monologue and did the first 8 lines. But it was just really, really embarrassing.
Yeah.
And the best audition experience, in my opinion, was probably... I don't know, actually. It's quite a few. Just talking about drama schools here.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Probably actually then Central. I would probably go Central. Either that or Rose Bruford. Those are the 2 schools I got into. But Central, I think, when we did this workshop with Vesna, and the first time I did it, in fact, that is actually another one which is probably one of my worst audition experiences. There's quite a few bad ones.
It's always the way.
But I remember Vesna saying to me, I did this Shakespeare monologue and I just wasn't in it. I was just like, just speaking the words. And Vesna and Wendy looked at each other and started laughing. And I know they were like,
so supportive.
Yeah. Well, no. In some ways,
sense,
it was good for me because I knew I wasn't in character. They knew I wasn't in character. They were like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I was like, "I have no idea."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Why? And why are we laughing at you? Apart from being, pricks, obviously. Why are we laughing at you?" And I was like, "Because I'm my character." They said, "Bingo." Said, "So why would you start if you weren't even there?" I think I learned a valuable lesson then. They told me to actually stand behind the curtain until I'd actually got in character. And I came out though, I directed my monologue at Vesna, and it was probably, that was the moment that I truly felt it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I was happy in that situation.
So if you could give one big piece of advice to anyone auditioning for drama school right now, what piece of advice would you give? So
apart from you auditioning the schools as much as they are auditioning you, I think that's a really big piece of advice because you have the top schools in the world, drama schools, which for me are Guildhall, RADA, Lambda. I think they're 3 of the top ones. But if you don't feel right there, there's no point of you going there. I think is one big piece of advice. I think preparation is also key. Yeah. I remember the first time around I didn't prepare at all, and I think that's the reason why I didn't get anywhere. So I think preparing a monologue, knowing exactly what you want, your objectives, your stakes, going through, underlining your keywords, who are you talking to, who is the other person, knowing that they are more important than you are, I think is obviously another important factor. But I do feel that auditioning the school and just feeling comfortable there is a very, very key point for getting to drama school.
Cool. Okay, so moving on into your training. Now,
good old training.
Drama school. Oh, it's just the best. So, I mean, there is so much. I mean, we can't cover 3 years of acting training in, half an hour now. So...
No. And I wouldn't want to either.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to. I'll just ask very simple, broad stroke questions. Is there one performance that you did at drama school which you are most proud of? What is the one performance you did at drama school that you, for whatever reason, stays with you? Either you're so proud of it, you learnt so much doing it. You can give separate performances for those separate points if you'd like. But what sticks with you the most? What do you learn the most?
I think Macbeth with Kelly Hunter. I think I learned a lot during that process. It definitely had its ups and downs for me. But I think the whole process of learning how to do Shakespeare tragedy and actually understanding Shakespeare as a whole. Kelly is a brilliant teacher for Shakespeare. And I think that the performance which I gave was one of the happiest I was with at drama school. And there were lots of ones which I wasn't quite comfortable with, whether because obviously at drama school we only had 18 people in our class, so obviously sometimes you are cast as someone who you would never be cast as. But Macbeth, I did 1/5 of Macbeth, and I felt that the performance I gave there may have been a bit over the top sometimes in some ways, but because it was kind of more, I didn't really treat it as a performance, but more of like a learning experience of how to get under the skin of a character and how to actually become Macbeth and what he actually goes through. I think that really was a big learning curve for me.
So drama school, as an experience, it changes you a lot, and it's 3 years of very positive and very negative memories.
More of the latter.
Well, yeah, definitely. But I mean, the happy ones tend to stick with you probably more. But
I enjoyed drama school.
Yeah.
I have met some great people. I would never change it for the world.
Yeah. Well, so what would I always ask? What would you say has changed the most about you over the 3 years? What would you say if anything about you look back and go, that I am a different person in that way more than anything else?
Apart from weight. I feel like my weight shifted from actually doing exercise during drama school. But what is my biggest change?
It's a tricky one.
That is I think you should apologise. Attitude to work, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't call myself lazy, but I think I used to be a lot more lazy than I am now. I think they kind of kick you up the arse.
Yeah.
A good kicking up the arse.
Yeah.
A good spank on the bottom. I think they prepare you for the industry. They really do. That's what drama school's all about.
Yeah.
It's not so much. It is about the acting training, and it is about getting the key information about character and stakes and things like that. But the key thing, I think, is preparing yourself for the industry. Knowing exactly how important casting directors are, your contact list, how important that is. I think it's all very important. I think they make you realise that at drama school. It prepares you for the wider world of the industry. I wouldn't have a clue how to deal with any of the things that I've done. That didn't even make sense. I wouldn't have.
I get you.
You know what I mean? You leave, you are by yourself in a kind of way. You're not lonely because you still have those friends, but you now need to try and find work, and it prepares you for that. It prepares you for knowing who to contact, how to get auditions, how the audition prep. I think they make you realise how important all that is.
Yeah. So if you could say something to 19-year-old Jamie who's just about to start drama school, if you could say something to him, who literally like the day before he starts, what would you say?
Oh, fail over and over again, and don't care. Honest to God, it means you get into drama school and you think, oh my God, I'm in drama school. God, this is like important.
Yeah.
But it is important, but at the same time, you need to understand you need to fail. Which I don't think I kind of got in my first year. I remember Andre coming up to me and was like, there's a reason you're here. Like, you know, it's fine if you get something wrong or if you don't understand something, because you've got 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's right.
And more than that, you've got the rest of your life to kind of figure these things out. But it's important to fail, because you don't learn anything if you fail. And if you chastise yourself, which is what I used to do quite a lot, if I didn't do something right, I'd kind of slap myself on the wrist and go, no, that's wrong. But it's fine. I mean, in some ways, we used to have retrievals. We used to have retrievals where if you kind of fail a topic, well, not really fail, if you don't do as well as you could have probably done, they'll bring you back for extra classes. I think that's brilliant. I mean, you get extra tuition. Yeah, it's just so important, because otherwise you just stop yourself, and it makes you cast doubts in your mind, and then when you're performing, you're thinking, rather than being in the moment, you're thinking, oh God, is everyone enjoying this performance? I hope I'm doing well. So all those little voices in the back of your head, which you really, really don't want, because it's just distracting. So I think it's okay to fail. And what is the worst that's going to happen?
So now you've left drama school.
I have left drama school.
We haven't been there for too long. We've only been in the scary world of not drama school for 2 months or so at the time of recording this.
Yes.
Has anything been a shock to you or been a surprise to you since leaving? Or, because not even leaving drama school, because to be honest, I think a lot of people would agree, the last few months at drama school, you're kind of sliding out of it anyway.
Yes.
But has there kind of been something you weren't expecting about leaving, something you were expecting and you weren't expecting how you were going to respond to it, and it's been a surprise to you?
I'd probably say the wrong answer here. I mean, there is no wrong answer, but no, I'm not that surprised. I was fully expecting this kind of thing. I kind of knew when I signed up for it, or I had all the warnings. They were like, don't be an actor. It's the worst possible job to do. You don't want to be an actor. There's unemployment central and not Royal Central School of Speech and Drama. Like, it's just unemployment galore, and you won't earn any money, and you won't succeed in life. And I was like, okay, fine, but I still want to do it. There's nothing else I could kind of see myself doing. So I wasn't surprised when I came out in the first 2 months I haven't got a job, or people aren't trying to grab me right now because I'm really, really good. That wasn't a surprise. I kind of expected this to happen. It's not a surprise to me at all.
Yeah. So, if you could change anything about being an actor, as in what
Apart
being
from
an
actually
actor,
being an actor.
yeah, like what being an actor is, everything it entails, and everything, as in the industry side of it, the performance side of it, anything. What would you change if you could change anything about our industry?
That is a hard question. That is a really hard question.
So you add, so you take away, so
I'd say add more jobs. There should be more plays, more theatres, more films, more television shows, so as to create more jobs.
So like, just more funding really for the arts. Like
kind of thing, but yeah. But like, I'd rather there was more material, so to speak. I mean, there's lots of material, but I wish there was more material to perform it at. I just wish the arts had a bigger budget, really. I mean, obviously film and TV has a big budget, but I wish theatre had a bigger budget. I wish there was more theatres, so that more people could then put on plays. I mean, we talk about this sometimes, is that some of the fringe shows you see are some of the best shows you see. Which is the reason why I think Edinburgh is so great. I mean, I went 3 years ago, I took a show up there. I didn't take a show up there, I was in a show up there. I wish. And the number of plays and performances we saw that were just absolutely incredible. The Bunker trilogy being one. I went to go see Morgana and Macbeth. I think it was Macbeth. It was Macbeth. And it was just incredible. Only 3 actors. And the performances, stunning. I think only one of them was drama school trained. So it just goes to show the training isn't needed. It's just kind of to prepare you. It's just helpful. And that's material up there, but I wish there was more material in the long run rather than just that 1 week. What's that quote? All the world's staged. Maybe I should start charging people at my life.
I feel like if anything, that could be the closer. That's such a good one. You took a show up to Edinburgh. What was that and how was it? Tell us all about what Edinburgh is. For those who don't know.
This utopia that is Edinburgh, the Fringe. So Dan Garber, who was director, took up a show to the Fringe called Titus Andronicus, and I played Chiron in Titus Andronicus. It was my first time at the Edinburgh Fringe. I really didn't know what I was signing up for. I had no idea. Dan came up to me and said, "We want you to play this bit part, really small part. You probably come in with a bag, someone's head inside it, and that'll be your part, and then you can leave." I was like, "Brilliant, sounds great." And then I got a call about 2 weeks later saying, "So yeah, guy playing Chiron's dropped out. Would you be prepared to shave off your hair?" I was like, "For you, Dan, anything." So next thing I know, I bald-headed, first time ever I've been bald. I have springy curly hair, which I was kind of attached to at the time, but I've since lost quite a few times from that point onwards, and went to the Fringe, and we were in C Nova, and if you can get into the C venues, it's great because you get to see all the C venue shows for free, and the show was amazing. I really enjoyed it. Very tight, very tiny theatre, but like niche. It was niche. And again, we didn't have a great budget, but the show we put on was a good one, so I thoroughly enjoyed it.
If you weren't an actor, if you were anything else, I know you have said already in this that you can't think of anything else you'd be, but if there was anything else, dream, what would it be?
So I mentioned very briefly I mentioned very briefly before, I have my Mr. Tumnus. I have my French horn. And that would probably be what I would probably go for. Probably. Yeah. I mean, I in no way compares to acting how much I'd rather be an actor. I did actually get onto the acting musicianship course at Rose Bruford, and I'm not going to say that I regret it. I'm so happy I took my place at Central, but you always think to yourself, what would have happened if I'd taken that offer instead? But I'm so happy I did the Central course. It's truly amazing. But to me, it does balance the best of musicality and acting.
It's a fantastic course.
Yeah. So for me, it was always about balancing between the two. And I feel like acting is now taking precedence. But if I was to do something else, it would probably be music. Sure. Whether that be writing or playing. I think writing, I would love to write music. It's one of the things which I sometimes think to myself, I kind of go, God, if I had a spare 7 hours, I would love to write a musical or something like that. When I say 7 hours, I probably mean more like 3 years, but I'd love to do some writing.
Yeah. What would you say is the best performance you've ever seen, and like the most inspiring performance? So they're probably the same thing, I imagine. Well, and it can be
inspiring.
It can be film, it can be TV, it can be stage, it can be radio, it can be a video game. It can be.
Okay, I know the most inspiring actually. The most inspiring piece of theatre I've ever seen was actually done at a drama school, 3rd year show. was done by the CDTs, the Collaborative and Devised Theatres.
Oh, was it
Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights for me was one of the most inspiring pieces of theatre I've ever seen. The whole way through, the music, the use of set, the visuals, it was just incredible. A truly amazing piece of theatre. It still sticks to me to this day. I've actually managed to find the songs from the show, download it onto my iPod so I can relive the experiences I had during that show. Which doesn't sound at all weird in any way. But and it's a shame it was only put on for a week. I think if there was one revival I would love to see, it would be Wuthering Heights. It's not done in a big space. It was done in a very small theatre. What's the space called again? It's called Webber Douglas, yeah. Black box, literally black box with 3 slates, maybe a blackboard, and just their just use of set and furniture. They had this fan. There's one point when he just was standing there and there was fan all over his hair, was going everywhere, and he was just like breathing in this fan. I was going, oh yes, loving the fan. That was the most inspirational piece of theatre I've ever seen, and probably one of the best pieces of theatre I've ever seen. Maybe even the best. I'm trying to think of one that might better it, which I can't really think of. But it's so hard to think of a best piece of theatre, isn't it? When there's so many different types.
So different.
The Crucible actually was a very, very good performance done by. I've never seen The Crucible before. First time I ever saw it. I saw it at the Old Vic with Richard Armitage as John Proctor, I think his name is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You haven't seen The Crucible.
I haven't seen it yet. Looking forward to seeing it in a couple of months. Central.
You are in for a treat. That play is cracking.
Cannot wait.
Richard Armitage was really good in it. I'm sure I can probably think of some other, if I had more time, I could probably go through a whole variety of people I've seen who I thought did incredible performances. But that one did stick out to me as, again, one of the best plays and one of the best performances I've ever seen. But that might be just because I've never seen the play before.
Yeah.
Which was a sin at the time, I can tell you that much, was a sin. Yeah.
Well, I still haven't. What does that say about me?
Well, I don't know.
Get out.
Yeah, exactly. Leave. I'm taking over this interview now.
Why haven't you read The Crucible? So, we all love the kind of acting side of acting. The actual performance, the rehearsals, the show.
I'd say other than the not acting part of acting.
It's the crap bit. The famous thing, it was actually the hard bit is getting the job, not actually doing the job. But how do you say you feel and you cope with all of the I will dare to say the boring side of things, like the spotlight and the equity and the headshots and
the emails.
Oh, the emails.
Oh, the emails.
How do you cope with all of those? What is how do you find them all?
I think the best way of looking at it is it's an ends to a means. I think that is the right saying. I'm not very good with sayings, but you're doing this so that you can then hopefully get jobs to then get work. It's not like you're doing this for no particular reason. You're doing this to get a job at the end of the day. So it should be treated as part of the overall acting process, so to speak. So every single time you're sending out an email, trying to get an agent or trying to get an audition, that is almost part of auditioning. I feel like I'm lecturing you here on things you probably already know. But that's what I kind of, how I see it. So it's one of those things which, yes, it can be tedious because you have to update it and you have to make sure everything looks perfect. But again, you are doing this because you want to get a job at the end of the day. And updating your CV and sending out these emails might secure you that, might not. But if you don't do it, you're not gonna be able to do it. Yeah. So you've got to do this in order to achieve the final goal.
Yeah. Do you have a dream role? Such a horrible, banky question. But do you have one? Like, is there a role you just love to play one day?
A dream role. I would. I know I said actually I wouldn't call myself musical theatre again, and I have played this role before. Seymour, I did love playing from Little Shop of Horrors. I think that would be a very big dream role of mine. But actually, also now I come to think about it, someone from Game of Thrones, I truly feel I would love to play as well.
Or The Walking Dead.
Or Walking Dead, yeah.
The Walking Dead.
One or both would be great.
Both ideal.
I would love to play a part in Game of Thrones or Walking Dead or any such thing like that. So please need a gold listen to this.
Headshots on the link below.
Exactly as I say. I've been told I look like Ramsay Bolton, or in other words, Jamsy Bolton. But yes, I know, sadistic me. But I would love to play Sam from Game of Thrones. I feel like he's a bit like me.
Yeah,
a bit out of place. Doesn't really know what he's doing. I would love to play that kind of role.
Right, so if you could leave a message right now for 30-year-old Jamie.
30-year-old Jamie.
So
I hope he exists.
Hopefully you'll still be alive. If in I guess 8 years time, if you could leave a message for yourself in the future, what would you say now?
Be fun. As depressing as that sounded. So even if the whole acting thing doesn't work out, which I really hope doesn't. I mean, it does. Can you mind editing that bit out?
Oh, I don't think we can.
What I meant to say is, even if this acting thing doesn't work out, which I hope it does. Which, again, not very good with words. Don't know why you made me the first guy here, James. I would hope that I would still be doing something along the creative industry. So I would like to say to myself, my 30-year-old self, to relax, take it easy. Even if you're not there, hopefully one day you will. Because 30 is still very young when you think about it. Hopefully I'll live to be at least 40. So therefore, I'd still have another 10 years, which is great.
Yeah.
And you hear a lot of stories about actors who don't start off until they're about 30 anyway.
Yeah.
Life begins, you could say it begins at 30.
Yeah.
I actually say life pretty much ends when you hit school and then actually begins again when you leave school. So I'd say to my 30-year-old self, I'd say, keep going, even if you've maybe faltered a bit.
Okay, so Jamie, we're now going to quickly have some quick fire questions.
Right.
I'm just going to throw at you. So say the first answer that comes to your head. We're going to be doing this every week. And they're going to be the same 10 questions. So,
same 10 questions.
Same 10 questions every week. We're going to throw at people. So
awesome.
Or we might change them, but this first episode, who knows? We're playing around it. Okay.
Keep me in suspense.
Here
okay.
we go. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite comfort food?
Comfort food?
Yeah.
Pizza.
Oh, nice. Ideal holiday location?
Corfu.
Ooh. Favorite word?
Olamalitu.
We're keeping that.
Okay.
Least favorite word?
Constipation.
Nice. Least favorite food?
Sprouts.
Okay. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones?
Lord of the Rings.
Favorite swear word?
Fuck.
What superpower would you have?
I would have the ability to go backwards and forwards in time, thus creating me being able to put a penny in the bank when I was really young and then it inflating to be millions of pounds.
Nice. So, last question of the entire show. The title of the show, in fact.
Which is?
So. what next?
Is it so what next, or is it just what next?
Well, so what's next?
All
over my show, brilliant.
Get auditions, get a job in acting. Hopefully I'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
And live a comfortable life. Move to Corfu. Have lots of pizza there. And then, you know,
and then
win the lottery would be great as well. And then move to America, because I've never left Europe, so I'd love to go to America. Obviously this is all dreams, but that would be ideal. My main one would be to get a job, to successfully get an audition, to successfully get a job, to successfully get an audition, and to do acting.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Jamie, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
No, not at all. You have been a wonderful first episode. Thank you for introducing the show and kicking off with a bang. So, thank you anyone who tuned in and listened. I hope you enjoyed it. We do have like a Facebook and a Twitter page, so if you find yourself on those websites, feel free to follow us. We're So What Next, the Young Performers podcast. We're also on SoundCloud and iTunes and YouTube, because that's probably what you'll be listening to this on. So follow us on all of them, because, yeah, why not? So, thank you very much, everyone who tuned in. I hope it's been helpful. Thank you, Jamie, for being here. Thank you, Susan, for doing all the technical side of things and being amazing. And we'll see you next week with another interesting interview. Goodbye and good night.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into this episode of So What Next? Give us a like on Facebook or Twitter if you enjoyed the show. Feel free to leave a comment telling us what you liked, what you didn't like. We want to hear your feedback. If you want to hear more about Jamie Coles, we'll have his info posted down in the description. So like, favorite, subscribe, and make sure you tune back in next week for another awesome episode of So What's Next?